Welcome to our Capture One Workflows tutorial. It really never ceases to amaze us, the breadth of engagement and interest with these various tools, methodologies, and so on that come our way. So let's look at those topics. And here are the three areas of inquiry. The first concentrates on a new feature, their Convert Negative tool, and their Scan and Negative tool tabs that have been added to the workflow, and in particular, how it compares with the magnificent Negative Lab Pro plugin in Lightroom. Now, leading on from that, questions querying sharpening in Capture One. So it's going to be a pleasure to deconstruct that and show you how that works. Then, why would I use Capture One? What are its drawbacks? What are its best features? Workarounds for its limitations, and so on. That begs a question. At the heart of this Capture One Workflows workshop, what do you need to do and how does it fit into your workflows? So that's the setup. They're the topics for today, and it'll be an absolute pleasure, as always, to unfurl what we've prepared for you, beginning with this idea of sharpening. Now, some camera systems need a lot of help because the system may have an anti-aliasing filter in front of the sensor, compromising the optical clarity of our beautiful lenses, irrespective of how still and well-focused and so on. Now, the question was, Capture One seems to have very limited sharpening options. Let's tackle that point up front because that's not true. It just appears that way. We will compare and contrast it with another raw processing application. Iridient Developer was mentioned, and it's 6 different approaches to sharpening our images, and not just our raw scans or raw captures, but also processed files. But for clarity's sake, we also need to distinguish between different ways of sharpening images. Now, just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to concentrate on 2 approaches. Local contrast enhancement over edges with an Unsharp mask tool, but also deconvolution, the refocusing of our images, removing the optical blur. Let's compare and contrast Unsharp masking and deconvolution sharpening techniques and how they're accessed and applied in Capture One compared with whatever other tools we may be using. Hopefully that will then set us up with those clear distinctions to look at what do I actually need to do above and beyond converting negatives or sharpening images in Capture One to those other features or drawbacks or other advantages or workarounds and so on. Let's begin with Capture One. I've got a black and white film scan from a dear friend. Go to 100%. You can see the dust and the scratches and the film grain. And there's multiple ways of sharpening an image, but let's just concentrate on that distinction between edge enhancement versus blur reduction, deconvolution. Both are in Capture One, as they are in Iridient Developer, as they are in Photoshop. But they're somewhat hidden, perhaps, and this is maybe the basis of this question. In our tool tabs, all that I seem to have is an amount, a radius, a threshold, an Unsharp mask tool. I also have clarity and variations on the theme, not so much edge enhancement, but local contrast enhancement. Also, you can see if we look at the amount, whoa, 1,000, whatever that means, the radius only 2.5 pixels. There's the threshold, and it only goes to 12. How many levels of tone need to be across a boundary before that sharpening is applied to a boundary? And so on. And you can see some of these dust and scratches being emphasized, whereas here it's being applied to every boundary. So it's like Photoshop. It's more like Lightroom in the sense you can't apply a 250 pixel radius. You can't apply 1,000 pixels. So obviously this is specifically to overcome the anti-aliasing filters and other compromises within our original digital capture. So that's edge enhancement. We also have deconvolution. I won't say it's hidden because it's perhaps where it really should be. It's under the lens correction tool where I've got diffraction control, remembering the bending of light through small apertures to an extent we notice the image being defocused where there is a sharpness slider. So here's that transparency scan again that I've photographed with this HR Digeron 70mm lens and this deconvolution slider. This is our tool for removing blur around what the lens has captured, whereas our Unsharp mask tool is edge enhancement once we remove that blur. Now, as with all sharpening, before we do anything, we need to remove tonal and color noise in our image. Otherwise, we're going to be sharpening that noise if that is not what we want to do. And this is particularly the case with deconvolution because we want the blur the deconvolution filter is trying to remove to be the blur of the referent in front of the lens, not the noise created by the sensor and the exposure conditions. But it begs this question: what is edge enhancement in the form of an Unsharp mask? Let me do a simple demonstration in Photoshop. Let's have a look at what an Unsharp mask is, noting it's a technique used in film-based photography for over a century. Let me demonstrate here in Photoshop what we did in the darkroom. I'll duplicate this image several times. And I'm going to blur that to a small extent. 1 pixel, that's more than enough. The film grain has gone 100%, turning that off and on, off and on. Slight blurring of the fine detail. We controlled the amount of blur in this duplicate piece of film in the darkroom by separating the original negative from the film we're printing on, which creates the mask that I'm replicating here in Photoshop. Now, I need to adjust that mask in terms of the contrast I want it to remove from my image. So I'll use our brightness and contrast tool in legacy mode, maybe 30% brightness reduction, maybe 30% contrast reduction. I'll merge that down. So I now have this mask before and after that is slightly blurred and lowered in brightness and contrast. But of course, in the darkroom, if I was starting with a negative, then I end up with a positive mask. If I was starting with a transparency, I'd end up with a negative mask. Here in Photoshop, I have blending modes. Can't do this in Capture One. So I can remove a positive from a positive. I don't need to invert it. And let's do that with image, apply image, our magnificent robotic hands. I have to stipulate layer copy 1. That's my mask. I need to subtract this from my image. So I'm lowering the contrast of the original by taking that low contrast, slightly blurred version. This is Unsharp masking, folks. I click OK, and you can see there's a radical difference. So now all I have to do is reset my dynamic range. I've auto-leveled it. And I now zoom in 100%, 200%. And now let's turn that off and turn that on. And you can see across the entire tonal scale, from dark shadows to specular highlights, I am sharpening the image because what I'm sharpening by the expanded dynamic range is what was hidden by that 1 pixel blur across my image. So when I subtracted the darker and lower contrast version from my image, what I wasn't subtracting was the detail blurred in that mask. So when I'm restoring the original contrast in the image, I'm also dramatically increasing the contrast in the areas blurred in the mask. That is real Unsharp masking. Now, of course, we have extensive notes on all of these procedures in many of our workshops. Now, understanding Unsharp masking notes include this simple demonstration to help us understand, using Photoshop dialog boxes, the amount versus the radius versus the threshold. There is that same TIFF file, 18-step wedge from black to white, middle gray up there. Let's do the same sharpening in Capture One. You've got to be kidding me. Back in Photoshop, there's the same file. And where's my sharpening tools? There's deconvolution, there's the unsharp mask. No problems at all. Let's go 500. What about a 1 pixel radius and 0 threshold? Let's zoom in just as I show you in our notes. There is that 1 pixel radius edge enhancement, not blur removal, edge enhancement, where the amount of darkening and lightening either side of that boundary is 500%. We increase that radius to 10 pixels. We reduce that to 200% lightening and darkening. Let's go back to 1 pixel, 500% increase, and now increase the threshold, 10, 20. Notice what Photoshop is helpfully telling us we are doing. We are increasing the number of levels of tonal difference that need to exist across a boundary before that amount of lightening and darkening edge enhancement at that radius, that distance, either side of that edge is applied. So I'm still sharpening these edges, but I'm not sharpening those edges. I'm sharpening the grass. I'm sharpening the rocks and the trees, the eyelashes, the hair, the lips. I'm not sharpening the skin or the clouds and so forth. That's a bit of revision, but I can't do that in Capture One because you don't have permission. But check this out. Here is the father and son scan where I've included the step wedge, and suddenly I can sharpen both TIFF files. It's more madness from Capture One, but we will come to this in the last topic with a little more fury and a little more consensus. Let's just get on with the demonstration. There's 100%, just as I did in Photoshop. There's middle gray, and I've got a middle gray surround. Let's max this out. 1,000% you can see the effect on the film grain. And what about the radius? I was working with a 1 pixel radius and 0 threshold. What if I increase that radius to 10 levels? Oh, that's right. Remember, this is just for sharpening the optical purity of our lens to overcome anti-aliasing filters or other aberrations. The maximum is 2.5 pixel radius, but that is still more than enough for me to see this is a true unsharp mask. And my threshold progressively removes it from edges, just like in Photoshop. Now, let's have a look at another processed file. I'll come to a raw file to finish off. And what about understanding this other version of sharpening, which is really local contrast enhancement, natural clarity? Let's have a look. Terrible halos everywhere. Now I've got a halo suppression in my unsharp mask, but terrible halos. And this is an already processed film. If we go to the classic enhancements, oh, where are the halos? We don't need halo suppression. Let's do a before and after. Before and after. You can see the massive local contrast enhancement. That's definitely working to enhance not just edges, but larger demarcations, local contrast as such. Now, what about deconvolution? If I jump to a tool like Iridient Developer, a remarkable raw processing application. If I go to the Detail tab, reminding me I need to be viewing this at 100 or 200% if I'm on a retina screen, there is clarity, local contrast enhancement. Then I have 6 different sharpening methodologies in unsharp mask. Also, the Richardson-Lucy deconvolution algorithm, hybrid sharpening, the standard Iridient reveal, where I have a texture micro detail, that is deconvolution. Edge detail, that is an unsharp mask built into the default sharpening tool, let alone these other variations, both the unblurring, refocusing of our image and the subsequent edge enhancement. So let's go back to Capture One and the IQ4 150 megapixel film scan. So there's dust and scratches, as you can see, and let's apply some deconvolution. Can you see the blur reduction off and on? That's a deconvolution filter, removing optical blur, guessing at what is image detail. And I'll leave that at maximum strength here in Capture One. Then go into my unsharp masking tool where I have a threshold of 0, a 1 pixel radius, the maximum enhancement, you can see the halos around that unblurred, refocused image. Deblurring, deconvolution, unsharp masking. And another example, this is an iPhone raw file. Let's reset everything and apply deconvolution. Can you see what's going on before and after? Notice in this case, the radius of the blur removal is beyond what blur was in that iPhone capture. And I'm now starting to reversing the blur. So I then adjust that slider while looking at my image, now removing its blur. And if needed, let's start with a 1 pixel radius and 0 threshold and increase the amount of that unsharp mask, edge enhancement, before and after, before and after. So that's another example of this division of duties between removing blur from the optical system, deconvolution filters, which are really just guessing at what is the image and what isn't the image, and therefore what needs to be removed. When you use a deconvolution filter in Iridient Developer, you can control the iterations. Now, of course, this slows down the processing because it's to keep deblurring until you're happy with what you've achieved, and no such control in Capture One. But that doesn't mean that deconvolution isn't in Capture One. It's just less under our control. And as I was trying to show you, Capture One can still service even such extremes. So hopefully that helps clarify those distinctions.